Hey, Coach, it's Trevor Groves from CUTigers.com here. We know there's a ton of good on Saturday to look at on film, but what were some of the bad things or things that you need to work on after watching the film? Obviously, put the ball on the ground a couple of times and the interception also.
It started with myself. One of those sacks, I take credit for that one sack down in the red zone. Was trying to take a chance, and they initially showed a particular look, thought we were good to go. They switched at the last minute, put Travis in a tough situation, so that sack was on me. So that's the area where I can improve. I thought that the one interception, was a result of a little bit of pressure that shouldn't have happened. Obviously, they were doing some things that are popping back and moving guys around. And Jackson thought he had some help on that particular RPO and didn't have help and let a guy loose in Trevor's face. And I think that kind of contributed to it. Still a bad decision, but he had pressure in his face, kind of flashed on him quick, wasn't expecting it, so he put the ball up. And there's a couple other things, just some technique things that we can clean up at every position. But overall, pretty clean.
Hey, Coach, it's David Hunt. You guys are second in the nation in long scrimmage plays. You have 96 of 10 or more yards, and the numbers are just great across the board, including the 80-yarder Saturday. The Germans called it Blitzkrieg or Lightning War. We called it Shock and Awe back in the Gulf War. Do you guys have a name for trying to create the chunk plays? And then what do you think is behind the fact that you guys have been so successful at all of these chunk plays? I mean, you basically have 5 quarters worth of plays of 10 or more.
Right. Now we technically don't have a name for it. That might be a good idea. That might be something we could come up with, and the guys might take pride in that. But we just talk about being explosive. Part of our plan to win that we talk about every single week is to have more explosive plays than our opponent, and we also chart that we want to have at least 4 in the running game and 5 or 6 in the passing game. And again, that's 16 yards on a pass or over 12 yards on a run. So we talk about that. We put emphasis on that. I think a lot of it is, when you're fortunate enough to have guys at every position, defense has to pick kind of, what they want to stop. And going back to last week, I felt like they were committed to stopping the run. They were gapping us out. They were popping backers on the inside, trying to create one-on-one matchups. So it puts you a little bit vulnerable in the passing game, which creates some space. And, I think that the fact that you got to respect the fact that we can run by you creates opportunities for the ball in space. And then when we get the ball in space, our guys have done a really, really good job of breaking tackles and creating those explosives. So I think it's a combination of, people have to figure out how they want to defend us. And when you're able to run the football, when you got a tight end that can create matchup problems, and then you have all the skill that we have at wideout, it just creates a lot of space. And our coaches have done a great job, helping put together a plan each week where we can go attack what we see on film in terms of space. And then our guys have done a good job of when they get the ball, just being tenacious runners after the catch and backs breaking tackles, especially Travis, yards after contact. So it's a lot of contributing factors.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor again. Syracuse obviously had a rough start to the season, but their defense does have 8 interceptions. That's third in the nation. I guess was Saturday a good wake-up call for Trevor, making that ill-advised pass, falling backwards, getting hit. And what else do you see from Syracuse's defense?
I think when you go and you watch, you can't just look at the stats. You can't just look at the overall record. You look at the majority of their games, outside of Liberty, man, those games are tight. They're going into the fourth quarter. Defensively, they do a lot of stuff that cause you problems. They could easily embarrass you if you're not focused. They jump in and out of structure. They attack you on defense. And because of that, they've been able to get some balls tipped. D linemen, some of their D linemen have had interceptions because they've gotten hits on the quarterback. Ball pops up, defenders in the right place, and then the safety that they had, number 7, before him, being out for the season. He's a ball hawk back there. You put the ball up, you put too much air on it, he's going to go get it. So I think that the biggest thing is that they're young. You can tell that they're a little bit inexperienced. They're doing a lot of things on defense, which once they figure it out, is going to cause a lot of problems. So this is a good challenge, for us. Obviously, for our guys, we got to, respect the fact that a couple of years ago they were 4-8 team that beat us. Then 2 years ago here, it went down to the fourth quarter to beat these guys. So they're going to come in, give us everything that they have. You can't get caught up in, what's being said about things that are going on within their team. They're going to give us, their best effort. These guys guys are going to be excited to play when they come down here on Saturday. And we got to do a good job of focusing all week because they do some challenging things with the different structures and the different pressures that they bring in. As far as Trevor, I think Trevor immediately understood what he did, and then he bounced right back. So I don't know if it's a wake-up call, but it's just a good reminder as well that every play, you got to have your focus. But more importantly, we got to challenge everybody around Trevor too, not to put him in situations where we put pressure in his face when he's not expecting it.
Hey, Coach, this is Todd Shaughnessy in Spartanburg. I know you guys cross-train players at different positions, to think about injuries and also especially COVID. Are the coaches do the same thing as far as learning each other's jobs?
In terms of, Coach Sweeney's done a great job of how he structured the organization to where you have a lot of guys working with each position. Obviously, you have rules to where they can't coach on the field, but they're involved in the preparation, and he has a plan for that with COVID. And again, all of us, that are full-time guys, have coached for a while and have versatility, understand the big picture. So there'd be some, I guess you say, crossover there. Not individually have we, focused on that because we believe Coach Sweeney has a plan if something were to happen to one of us.
Coach, it's Trevor again. Ches has touchdowns in 2 of the last 3 games. Has he kind of improved his spot in the pecking order, maybe like 3A along with Rencher?
I think that he's definitely, making a lot of progress. Everybody knows what Ches is capable of with the ball in his hand. Unfortunately, he missed some time in fall camp with his shoulder, which I think that was going to be a big opportunity for him to move. So definitely think he has the potential. The biggest thing is making sure that we continue to develop in pass protection, being able to recognize, identify, and be successful with your technique when you're put in those situations. But he's definitely pushing in the right direction. It's a tough dynamic, and I tell him every single week because you got to have 6 guys, all 6 guys ready to play, and it's tough trying to get everybody the amount of reps that they would need. In another year, if it was a regular year, you probably have 5 guys you're getting ready, send a couple guys down the scout team, but now you're trying to rep all 6 guys. So all those guys are pushing. So Ches is definitely, trending in the right direction. I got to do a good job of helping him get to where he needs to be from a pass protection standpoint, just in terms of his execution and pass protection. And then again, just continue to challenge all those guys to be ready because it could be any one of them that's going to be called upon in a crucial situation to come through for the team.
Hey, Tony, it's Josh from the Post and Courier. We've seen Amari Rodgers' growth on the field. What's his growth been like off the field over the last 4 years?
Amari, I think kudos to his high school program, his parents. He came in as a very, very mature young man. I think more so than anything, he's just continued to build upon the discipline and the commitment that it takes to develop and grow as a pro. So the biggest thing for Amari it's just now everything is lining up. He's injury free. Now all of the work that he's put in is really starting to pay off. So in terms of growth off the field, he came in very mature. As I've said many times, he came in with the pro mentality. So I don't know if you could say there's been as much growth off the field because he came in with a lot of that. I think it's just a function of now everything starting to fall in place based off of all the work that he's put in.
Would it be fair to call him a locker room leader at this point as a senior?
Oh, no doubt. He's always been a leader. I think now he has to be a little bit more vocal because he is the marquee guy in that room and everybody's looking to him or they're watching him. Whereas before, they were watching his work ethic and always respecting that. But there were other guys that may have had more of the clout on the field, so to speak. Now he has that, but he's always had that leadership mentality because of his work ethic and the way that he conducts his business.
Hey, Tony, Scott Kiefer here. Speaking of Amari, traditionally, I think the slot receiver has been kind of an underneath guy trying to get the 5-yard first down reception. He seems to really be stretching the field like an outside guy. Is that by design or is that just showing his versatility?
Both, definitely part of our offense is to go down the field and we got to take those shots. And We've had, in the past, we've had the big, tall guys that kind of got that work, and then we used the slot guy to create the matchup. But Amari is a unique guy in that he has the skill set to do whatever you need him to do. I mean, he can be a jet sweep guy. He can be your underneath shallow cross guy. He can be your isolation one-on-one quick twitch guy in the slot. Or you saw in the game, we put him out there and isolated him on the safety in the middle of the field where he almost scored a touchdown there. But he also has the ability to go up and high point the ball, which is unique for some of your prototypical slot guys. They're typically more of your short area quick, catch the ball and run, where he can actually go stretch the field because he has the speed, but then he has the ability to go up and high point the ball. So we want to find ways to try and force the ball down the field. Obviously, you got to respect every defensive structure and find out where those opportunities are going to come. And, sometimes it's going to be on the outside with the big boys, but then there's going to be some times in the game where you may get a guy like Amari, your slot receiver, matched up on a nickel Sam or a safety with no post help. And we saw that on tape, and he was able to go execute and have a big day.
I'm guessing your younger receivers look up to him.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, just the way he carries himself, and then just opportunity that he's taken on his own, and then sometimes encouraged by the coaches to speak to the group and kind of share his thought and his perspective. But I think it all boils down to the way he conducts himself in the meeting room, the way he prepares, and then how he takes care of his body off the field, and then how he's always the last receiver off the field at the end of practice because he's always putting in extra work.
Thanks.
Tony, this is Larry Williams. Historically, I guess it's been said of truly great players, regardless of sport, that they elevate the play of everyone around them. Do you see with Trevor and Travis that same phenomenon happening, and what does that look like from your eyes, if it indeed is happening?
I'll start with Travis. Travis's evolutions are probably a little bit different because of just his temperament. If Travis had his way, he wouldn't want to speak at all, and he doesn't like being in the limelight. But I make it known to him in that room that guys are watching him, and so what you see a guy like Chez, whose running style has been downhill in high school to now where he's trying to use a little bit of patience. He's watching Travis, how Travis attacks the line of scrimmage, but he's under control. He's got good body balance. He could skip. He can burst. He can do a lot of different things. And so Chez is able to see that, and in his own way, try to incorporate that aspect into his game based off of what he physically can do as it relates to that. So that's one area that you see, and I think that's what elevates the play, is because there's a respect factor there, and then there's also a tangible relationship to where they can ask questions and they can have those conversations, to where a guy like Chez he can expand his game by being close to Travis every single day. And that's just one of the examples. All the guys in the room benefit from that. And then being around Trevor, I think everybody elevates their level of play because they understand how hard he works, how committed he is, how unselfish he is, that he's not going to ask you to do anything that he's not willing to do. And he proves it every single day. And then when he has opportunity, man, he shares the glory with his teammates. He doesn't try to say that I did that by myself. And I think that's what elevates the plays, because that the guy that's leading you, he's setting the example, right? He's doing the things that he's asking me to do. So then I have a responsibility in myself to make sure that I do those things. And that's how those guys elevate their play.
Hey, Tony, it's Anna with Clemson 24/7. I think we saw Walker Parks and Mason Trotter come in a little bit earlier on Saturday. Just what you see in Mason to kind of have that confidence in him. And then just where is Blake Vinson right now?
Right. So starting with Trotter, Trotter's a guy that since the day he showed up, we've all had a ton of respect for just his understanding of the game, his technique. He's a technician, plays with great leverage. Biggest thing for him was adding some weight, and then obviously, being in and out of the protocol a little bit, for him, has kind of held him back as far as this year. But now he's back to where he's ready to go. He knows what to do. He could play center. He could play guard. His weight is up, and you were able to see him go out there and be a technician in the game. So I think that's where he is. Walker Parks, is a guy that all of us, probably including you guys as well, had very, very high expectations of him coming in, and he hasn't disappointed. He's a guy that got here this summer, had a very different summer than you normally would have. He's being asked to play left and right, and he's doing a good job. He just brings that work-like mentality. And the biggest thing with him, and the same with Mason, is it's just getting those guys experience. And Blake is doing everything he can. Biggest thing for him is just building confidence and strengthen that knee so that he can go in. He's a guy that's played just about every position on the offensive line. He can snap. He knows what we're trying to get accomplished. The biggest thing for him is just getting him to a point to where he's fully confident in that knee so he can go out and he can execute.
How close would you say Paul Tchio is to kind of getting more reps?
I thought Paul Tchio grew up in this past game, so he's definitely getting closer to getting more reps. And if we had our way, you'd like to play those guys a lot, but unfortunately, with the lack of experience at the position, we're asking our starters to play a lot of snaps. But I think as the season grows, and then definitely with this past game, with our backup guys being able to go into the game, move the ball, had a 16-play drive, score points, their confidence is going to do nothing but go up. So that's going to, increase their intensity at practice every single day because now they know that, hey, they had some success. They're capable. They can see kind of the fruits of their labor. They've been putting in the work. Now they've had some success, but that's only going to help us. So, each game is going to be different. It's going to be a game in itself. But I think all those guys are pushing, especially those ones that you mentioned.
Hey, Tony, listening to a lot of the shows yesterday, Roddy Jones was saying that there were 6 or 7 throws that just made him go, wow, with Trevor Saturday. And you hear all these NFL guys talk about how impressed they were. Is he playing at high of a level as you've seen him since he's been at Clemson? And, where do you kind of compare the way he's playing right now to what you've seen before?
I think for Trevor now it's just consistent, game in and game out, and just being consistent with his decision making. He did have the one, ill-advised decision there on the interception, but outside of that, he's playing really, really good football. I think the biggest thing for him, or where we see it from a coaching perspective, is just his discipline in the pocket. He's doing a good job of not moving too much in the pocket. He's managing the game the way it needs to be managed. He's making the decisions based off of the look. We're giving him some opportunities to, to see the whole field and do some different things. And he's really, really taking ownership of that. And it's hard for me sitting on this side to really, truly answer that question because I'm in it, and we've seen it, day in and day out, and we know what he's capable of. But I think overall for us, the biggest thing is that he's just consistent in everything that he's doing, from his footwork to his decision-making to his ball placement. Again, you like him to make every throw, but that's a little bit unrealistic, but he's making, pretty much all the throws. And the one corner ball to Amari probably was the most impressive throw, that I saw because he saw man-to-man. He knew he had an opportunity on the tight end, but he saw man-to-man and he put the ball exactly where it needed to be.
We'll take 1 or 2 more for Coach.
Coach, this is Todd again. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about Hunter Helms, what you see in him, a little bit of his personality. Maybe seems like a big time for him right now.
Hunter Helms is a guy that works extremely hard, and man, kudos to him because he's a guy that's in every meeting. Doesn't get many reps because he has to go down and rep on the scout team for our defense to help give them a look. And man, for him to be able to come in and pretty much run the offense. And obviously I like to ask those guys what they like, what they don't like, give them like a call sheet. And, he's marking off things. I'm like, okay, man, he's put in the work. And then to see him go out and, I think he's the first walk on to throw, 2 touchdowns in a game. But really, really pleased and happy for him. And I think he's just going to continue to get better. His confidence is going to continue to grow. But I think he's just a steady young man that comes in every single day. Very humble, very quiet, understands his position, but man, he's working like he's preparing to be the starter. And I think that's what allows him to go out and have success, in a situation like the other day.
Take 1 more.
This is Matt with the State. When you guys get in a game like you did Saturday where it's getting kind of out of hand, what are the conversations like as far as, when do we want to bring guys in and I guess sub out Trevor, all that kind of stuff?
That the Trevor sub is on Coach Streeter and Coach Sweeney. I kind of stay out of that one. I let them decide when they think it's appropriate for him to come out of the game. But for all those guys, once we get to a game like that, we just want to get in some meaningful snaps for the guys in the pecking order, as much meaningful snaps as we can. And then try to distribute the ball, man. Try to Max May. He's a guy that y'all may not know much about, but man, that young man works his butt off every single day, and to have an opportunity to see him touch the ball You want to get a Joe involved in the game. EJ's a guy that we accelerated him and said, hey, he needs to get more snaps early in the game. That's why you saw him a lot earlier in the game. And so the conversations were just trying to make sure that we're being diligent in developing the guys that need to be developed through meaningful snaps. But then at the same time, if there's opportunity, reward the guys that put in the dirty work throughout the course of the week on scout team, or they're getting a bunch of reps, but don't get a bunch of reps in the game. So that's kind of what those conversations were about.